Okay, so I just got out of Ghost in the Shell, and holy shit, was it bad. I mean, I don't even really know where to start. It's just crap from beginning to end. It feels really generic through the whole thing. It doesn't feel, I mean, aside from like some of the visuals, it doesn't feel anything like Ghost in the Shell, like the source material. Obviously I still have a problem with the whitewashing. I think it's made even worse by the twist that they use to try to justify it, which spoilers by the way, but yeah, she was Japanese the whole time. Bullshit. It's just, I don't even know where to start. It's really bad. Even like, most of what I heard going in was like, oh yeah, the visuals are awesome, and like the world, like it looks really cool, and it's just really, it's like a really unique take on the future, and it's kind of got like a Blade Runner-y feel, and blah blah blah. I mean, like, most of it is just really distracting. Like, they're trying to have a serious conversation, and in the background there's like a 300-foot tall man jogging, and it's like on a loop in the background, so it's really freaking distracting. Or like early on, they're like walking down the street and you see like a giant CG koi fish swimming down the road, and I don't know, I guess my suspension of disbelief isn't as good as some people's, because my immediate thought is like, I bet that causes like 100 traffic accidents a day. Like, it's just a giant fucking koi fish swimming down the road. Like, if you're driving, you can't see anything past it. It's a giant koi fish. It's just stupid. And none of that shit was ever anywhere in the original anime or even like standalone complex. It wasn't in the mangas. It was just something added to look neat in this, and it's stupid. Yeah, I still have a problem with, like, it showed in the trailer, which is slightly different from how it plays out in the actual movie, but still, like, what's the point of going invisible if you're just gonna bust through a window, come back to full visibility, and run across a wall? Like, the whole point of the optic camouflage is that she's, being stealthy. That's not stealth. Kuze was kind of a mix between Kuze from the anime, or from Standalone Complex, and the Puppet Master, but not it doesn't do justice to either of those characters. He's also kind of, they threw in a little bit of, if you ever watched Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the wizard, because he does that shit, like, oh, it's you. Like, he's got these glitchy, and it's annoying as all hell. Like, I don't know, man. That was just bad. Scarlett Johansson's, it's weird because they keep telling her, like, oh, everybody sees you as human. You're like this, like, miracle of a creation. Nobody can tell the difference. But then she, like, walks super robotic, and just, like, I understand she's supposed to be playing a cyborg, but isn't the point that it's supposed to be, like, really hard to tell the difference between a human and a cyborg? Yet she's, like, stiff, aren't you like, my brain adds in the, like, sound effects because it's so over the top. It's just really awkward looking. Let's see. I mean, it goes away, like, they try to kind of touch on the, like, oh, are you human? Are you, AI? How can you even prove the difference? Like, the themes that the original present, and then they just kind of let it all go in favor of, like, this evil corporation revenge story. I will say that I prefer the way it is in the real movie over how it seems like it's going to be in the trailers, because the trailers make it seem like she's after Section 9, which isn't the case. It's Honka Robotics, which is the company that made her shell. But they're like working closely with Section 9, but whenever everything goes to shit, Section 9 backs the major instead of Honka Robotics. So, which, yeah, I like that better. I like that a lot better. Because nowhere in any of the anime or manga was Section 9 ever the bad guy. So I'm glad that they didn't do what the trailers made it seem like they were going to do. But it's still just like a super generic feeling story whenever, you know, the original 95 movie was so like genre defining and groundbreaking and like so different from everything else. It's sad to see this like morph back in on itself and just become another generic Hollywood action movie with a revenge plot. I'm going to talk about the twist a little bit more. Not as much of the whitewashing of it, which I'm not going to get too deep into because, I mean, if you watch the podcast, you already know how I feel about that. And this movie, to me, just justifies my feeling. There's no part of it where I'm like, oh yeah, no, that makes the whitewashing okay. But there's a part with that twist whenever she finds out that she's been Japanese the whole time, which is still just, it's so fucking stupid. That is so stupid. It's the dumbest way to justify you casting a white woman. It's so obvious that that's the way you would do it. That, like, it's not clever, it's not smart, it's not thought-provoking, it's just stupid. But anyway, not the point I'm trying to make here. She finds out where her real mom lives and goes to see her, and her mom is like talking about the daughter that disappeared, that she doesn't know what happened to her, which we find out is Scarlett Johansson's character, Motoko, and she's describing her daughter as like she was wild and rebellious, and you know, the whole time Scarlett Johansson is in there with zero emotion, like seems kind of standoffish, really quiet, and then her mom is like, "You remind me of her," and you just kind of want to go like, what part of this silent, like emotionless thing reminds you of your wild, rebellious daughter? Like, there's nothing. It's clearly like this was put in here for plot, and it even gets weirder because, or it's in here as a plot device to like drive it on, but it isn't well written, and then it gets even weirder later because she's talking to Kuze, and you find out that like they knew each other and basically they both got kidnapped at the same time and turned into cyborgs, but she is talking to him though, and then is like, yeah, because they're in like this house where they were kidnapped from, and she's like, yeah, me and you and a few others lived here, and we had no one else. We were like each other's family. I'm like, you were just at your mom's. You were just at your mom's house. Like, the mom that misses you and never believed that you were dead, and like and then you go talk to this guy and you're like, I didn't have anybody. It's just stupid. It's just poorly written. It's filth. It's crap, and it in no way, besides some of the visuals, does it do any justice to the source material, nor does it build on it in any way. It just steals from it for visual effect and then gives you a movie you've seen 100 times before. Yeah, I would be way more pissed, I guess, if I didn't expect this bullshit. And, you know, full disclosure, and anybody who watched the podcast knows that, like, going into this, I did not expect it to be good. But this was worse than what I was expecting. Just, man, if you're a fan of the original, do not go see it. If you've never seen the original, I can't really think of anything that makes this movie worth watching besides, like, some stuff looks neat, but I don't know, to me that this was an hour and like 40-minute long movie, and it is the longest hour 40 I've dealt with. Like, I felt like I'd been in the theater for like 4 hours. This movie just drags, and it's awful. So I don't know. I guess if you just really like looking at Scarlett Johansson, go see it, but I can't really recommend this to anybody. Again, I am biased. I cannot separate this from the 1995 film, especially because they keep, every time you kind of have enough time with this movie to start to kind of think of it on its own without thinking of the 95 movie, they throw another scene ripped from the 95 movie at you. So it's really impossible to separate the two whenever they're constantly reminding you of the 95 movie. So I don't know, just for me, if you're in the same mindset as me, where you're a fan of the original, you do have a problem with the whitewashing, and you just like movies to be written well, alongside having neat visuals, and you like the cool technology to actually make sense. Like, they have a hologram in this that's like, oh, here's the hologram of a crime scene, which, cool, future tech, they could do like a 3D scan of the room. I'm down with that. But then one of the guys grabs like a dead body and moves it, and pulls the guy's shirt down a little bit, cocks his head, and I'm like, how does that work? Explain that technology to me. Like, unless they did that at the crime scene, like, okay, now in case somebody looking at this later wants to, turn that body over, pull his shirt down, and cock his head, you need to do that for me real quick so the scan will get it. Like, I don't get how that works. It's one of those things that, like, it looks neat, screw making it make sense. And that's kind of how this whole movie is. Screw making it make sense, screw making it be good. If it looks cool, do it. I don't know. I really did not enjoy it. I will never watch this movie again. There's no reason to. I mean, if I want to look at Scarlett Johansson, she's in a shitload of better stuff. If I want to see a generic revenge movie, there's 100 of them that have done it better. If I want to see something that actually represents like the themes and concepts that Ghost in the Shell has, Westworld does it a shitload better. So, I mean, that's kind of sad that Westworld is a better representation of Ghost in the Shell than Ghost in the Shell. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking Westworld. Westworld is great, and it clearly does, it's clearly inspired by Ghost in the Shell. But that's the sad thing, though, is that something that's just inspired by Ghost in the Shell does way better to represent it than what is supposed to be and is literally called Ghost in the Shell. So yeah, that's my impressions / review. I'm not gonna give it like an A or a 2-star or whatever. I'm not gonna do that because I think that boils it down too much and stuff. But it's just, if you want my opinion of it, it's a shit movie. It's super generic, and everything from the action to the plot to the acting we've seen in 100 other movies done 100 times better. And it's just, there's no reason to watch this movie over any other movie. Yeah, so that's it. Thanks for watching.